You probably recall the whole Ebola scare years ago. It was on every news outlet, causing mass panic around the United States. When news broke that someone was infected on a flight back to the US, causing a major lockdown of the airports and plane. It was a major sales growth for the people who sold cleaning products and medicine. As of now, there is still no cure for it, and it is highly contagious. It can survive for several days on a dry surface, in room temperature. And to make things worse, it also is able to avoid our immune systems by infecting areas it cannot check. I was working with a special projects group that were collecting information from hospitals across the US, with the intention that they could map out those who were taking in high-risk patients, in hopes that they could prevent any outbreaks that could potentially destroy the country in a matter of days. It sounds far-fetched, but they are still doing it to this day, and it has been working so far with the exception of a recent outbreak in a small rural town in Arizona. For security reasons, I will not disclose the name of the town or the actual hospital. For now, I'll just refer to it as the Clemson Regional Hospital. The call came in at around 5:30 in the morning. It was from the lead physician at the hospital, who I'll refer to as Dr. Williams. It was a young female that came in a few days ago. She was describing common flu signs and symptoms at the local clinic before she was sent to us. The doctor's voice sounded weak over the phone as he described the woman the special response team had picked up hours earlier, after she had tried to leave the town. "Doctor, how many more cases have come in since then?" I asked, trying to form a mental picture on how big this outbreak could potentially be. "The whole town," came his response. I sat in disbelief. "Are you sure?" I responded quickly. "Yes, all 400, including myself and the hospital staff." This was bad. If this outbreak had infected the whole town, there was no telling how far it could be now. I got up from my bed and ran into my office quickly, turning on my laptop. "Have you started quarantine procedures?" I asked while trying to get a hold of one of the contacts in the CDC. "Yes, but there's no telling how many people have made contact with uninfected hosts." My contact sent a response email immediately. "Containment teams are already setting up a perimeter around the town. Media blackout is in effect. Signed, M." I closed my laptop and I put the phone on speaker as I got dressed. "Doctor, you have to keep everyone in that hospital no matter what happens. I'm on my way." M sent a helicopter to pick me up and transport me to the site. It landed on a temporary landing zone on the outskirts of the town. There were multiple military vehicles and men in hazmat gear setting up roadblocks and checkpoints on the main road leading into the town. A man wearing a respirator and combat gear greeted me as I stepped off of the helicopter. "I'm Sergeant Weston. My team and I will be escorting you to the hospital." He pointed me towards the tent next to a parked armored truck. "Your equipment is in that tent. Go get changed and we can head out." I thanked him and I headed towards the tent. As I was making my way over, a shot rang out, causing me to jump. "Stop! If you come any closer, you will be shot," a voice yelled over the loudspeaker. I couldn't hear anyone in response, but after a few moments of silence, there was a rapid series of gunfire before things quieted down again. I didn't bother looking at what they were shooting at. It sounds cruel, but in my line of work, you have to remain detached or you will lose your sanity. The tent was occupied by 3 other people, presumably from the company, wearing Type A hazmat suits. In the far corner were the cases containing my equipment. I changed into a hazmat suit, thoroughly inspecting it, ensuring there were no leaks or cracks. Its internal oxygen system let out a low hiss as I pulled the respirator over my face. I made sure my Glock 19 was loaded and secured on my leg holster before I exited the tent. Sergeant Weston was waiting on the road in a gun-mounted truck with 3 other people. The truck was cramped even more thanks to the hazmat suit that I was wearing. "Why exactly are we going to the hospital?" The soldier mounting the gun yelled down into the truck, his voice muffled by his gas mask. "To get the security footage and make contact with the head physician," I yelled back. The truck passed the roadblock on the road. There were 3 dead bodies lying in the road, 2 adults and 1 child. I could make out the blood seeping from their nose and eyes from inside the truck. If they had made it all the way out here, there is no telling how many more are out there trying to get out, I exclaimed as I leaned close to the sergeant. "Don't worry, we have Apaches circling the perimeter. So far, not a single person has made it out of the town yet," he reassured me. The town was dead silent, with the exception of barking dogs and the occasional gunshot. Cars were left in their places and doors to houses were left open. It left me with an uneasy feeling in my gut. "Fox 1, this is Reaper 2. We have you on thermals." A voice came from the truck's radio. Weston reached over, grabbing the handpiece from its cradle. "Roger at, Reaper 2. Keep any locals off of us and keep me posted. Out." He put the handpiece back. "What do you do if we need immediate fire support?" I asked, interested in the new connection. "The pilot will ask for a verification phrase before engaging. Ours is wildfire." "Why?" Weston asked, confused. "Just in case shit goes sideways," I replied. The driver stepped on the brakes, slowing us down to a crawl. "Contact at 12 o'clock, he called out. "Roger, eyes on." The gunner responded, loading the gun with an audible click. "Return to your home," he yelled at someone that I couldn't see. "Shoot 'em," the driver yelled. The thudding of casings from the machine gun fell into the floorboards, narrowly missing my legs. I could feel the vibration from the gun shooting in my chest. "What the hell are you shooting at?" I yelled, trying to make sense of the situation, but I got no response. We passed what little remained of a body. He popped like a freaking balloon. Laughter came from up top as we continued towards the hospital. A bright orange glow was shining across the night sky as the hospital grew near. "What's burning?" I asked Sergeant Weston, who was scanning the street. "One of the gunships shot a school bus trying to run the roadblock on the north side of town. They were not going to take any chances of this thing spreading, whatever it is." "We're here, Cortez. Stay in the gun. Derek, Anderson, you're with me and the suit." Weston opened the door to the truck, quickly making his way to the front entrance. What remained in the hospital waiting area almost made me vomit in my hazmat suit. Bodies were still sitting in the seats along the wall. Blood was seeping from their eyes, ears, and their nostrils. "Holy shit, this is metal." Derek, the driver, gasped at the grisly scene. "Where are we going?" Weston asked, facing me, the light from his rifle blinding me momentarily. "Good question. We need to get to the footage room from the security system, and I need to find Dr. Williams." He stood there for a moment, formulating a plan. "All right, Derek, go find the main security office. Anderson, go with the suit and find the missing doctor. I'll hold down here to make sure he doesn't leave." I walked over to the reception desk to find a deceased nurse clutching onto a phone. It was letting out a dial tone as I grabbed her ID card. "What do we need that for?" Anderson asked, kicking at an empty stretcher. "This will get us into different areas of the hospital that non-staff members aren't allowed in." We made our way further into the hospital. More and more bodies lined the hallways as we got further and further. There is an intersection at the end of the hall where we found a lounge area for the hospital staff. "What caused this shit in the first place?" Anderson asked, trying to ease the tension. I'm just here to find the doctor and get footage from the security cameras," was all that I replied as I checked the bodies to see if they were my missing doctor. "You know," Anderson's voice was cut off by a loud crash from behind us. Anderson spun around, raising his rifle. "Who's out there? Make yourself known," he yelled into the empty hallway. A few seconds later, a young female around 9 or 10 came walking around the corner towards us. "They're here. Save us." Her voice was hoarse and raw. "I have to go tell my mom and dad." She coughed, causing blood to dribble down her chin. "Where's your mom and dad?" I asked, keeping my distance. "In the picture room." The girl slowly proceeded down the hallway, ignoring us. The picture room turned out to be the X-ray room. The little girl's parents were in the waiting room, both of them in the same condition as the others. The little girl sat on her father's lap, trying to wake him up from his never-ending sleep. We continued the search for Dr. Williams. After another hour or two of searching the ground floor, I entered the elevator and headed to the second floor with Anderson following close behind. "Anderson, tell the suit that I found the security room," a voice came from Anderson's radio. "Will do. You find anything in there?" He responded, sounding bored. "Yeah, I was replaying the footage and there's someone that looks like the suit who visited the hospital before people started dropping." Anderson looked over to me as I leveled my Glock 19 at his face, pulling the trigger. The sound was deafening in the confined space. A neat little hole was created on Anderson's cheek, from where the round had impacted. His gas mask visor was cracked from the round entering his head. I picked up his rifle and I radioed, stepping over his now dead body as I exited the elevator. Dr. Williams' office was on the second floor on the northeast side. He would have the only physical file on patient 0. I couldn't risk anyone else finding out. Given her state on the second arrival, there would be no time for her to be entered into the database, and the people on payroll at the local clinic made sure to keep patient 0 out of it. One of the infected locals was still alive as I neared Dr. Williams' office. "Help me," he croaked as I walked closer. "No one is going to help you," I muttered as he reached out towards me with a shaking hand. Dr. Williams' office was clean and well kept. His deceased body was still sat in his desk with phone still in hand. Picture of a smiling doctor with a wife and 2 kids sat on his desk. His computer was still on, and it looked like he was in the middle of an email when he passed. I rolled the chair back, dumping his body out onto the floor and taking a seat. "Helen, people are getting sick and I don't know if I'll be able to make it home. Tell the kids that I love them. Will." The cursor hovered over the send button. I grabbed the mouse and I deleted the unsent email before getting back up. Well, thank you for holding on to this for me." I grabbed the file from his desk and I walked back towards the elevator. I made sure to take a different elevator down to the main floor to prevent the others from finding the body. "Where's Anderson and why do you have his rifle?" Weston asked, word that I lifted the rifle in response and fired out a burst into his chest and legs. He fell to the floor, sending his rifle clattering across the floor. "You son of a bitch," he stammered as I stepped over his body. "What's going on in there?" Cortez's voice crackled over the radio. "Yeah, I heard gunshots. Is everybody okay?" Derek's voice came next. The security room was to the south of the reception area, past the testing labs. Derek was still watching the security cameras when I entered the room. He was watching the last couple of days instead of the current feed. His rifle was rested against the desk that sat under a large TV screen. "Boss," his voice echoed in the radio, causing him to face me. "What the hell?" was all that he was able to say before I put a round through his head. I looked through the feed and I found the copy on the hard drive. I wiped it from the computer and the security's backup system before walking back out to the truck. "Yo, what the hell is going on in there?" Cortez asked as I exited the lobby. "I need your help, hurry." I tried my best to sound distraught. I followed Cortez into the lobby. "Who the hell shot him?" he asked, bewildered. I did. I fired the rest of the magazine into his back before it emptied. The rounds raked his legs and back, sending him to the floor. "Why?" he cried out in pain. I responded by putting a round into the back of his head from my Glock. I exited the hospital, getting into the driver's seat of the gun truck. "Fox 1, this is Reaper 2. What's your status? Over." The attack pilot's voice crackled as I drove the truck back towards the roadblock. "Reaper 2, this is Fox 1. The hospital has been taken over by hostiles. Level the building. Fox 1, waiting for verification phrase." The pilot responded. "Reaper 2, wildfire, I say again, wildfire, out." "Roger that, Fox 1. A few seconds later, 2 Apache attack helicopters flew towards the hospital, unleashing their massive rockets and a machine gun fire on the building. One of the guards at the roadblock halted the truck. "Where's the rest of the team?" I looked over at the file on the passenger seat. I barely made it out. There were multiple hostile locals in the hospital. The guard stood silent for a moment. "I figure that's why the call went out. Did you get hurt?" he asked, shining the flashlight over me. "No, I don't think so." I checked myself over to ensure that there were no holes or cracks. "Alright, take the vehicle over to the right. We'll get you cleaned up." I went through a decontamination shower and I got changed. Shortly after, I received a phone call from my boss. "Did you get everything?" The voice masked by a speech modulator. "Yes, everything is taken care of. What's the next step?" I asked, throwing the patient file into a burn barrel. "We have another test about to start in Colorado. Get over there as soon as you can." I hung up the phone and boarded the helicopter that had originally dropped me off. "Where to?" the pilot asked. "Colorado." The work that I do sounds evil, but it is necessary to ensure that things keep running smoothly. Every now and then, you will see it plastered all over the news. An outbreak of measles or a food contamination of some sort. Just know that it is not random. It's well planned and constructed to test the public's reactions and government response time and quality in case of an outbreak like the one in Arizona occurs.